I'm Joshua Olumide. We're here with my friend Alyson Muzila, actor, activist, mother, and yeah, we're here to talk about life and the things, all good things in life, careers. Let me put this on so that I know where I'm being timed. So yeah,
Did you hear that there was a big truck today on 95 that spilled over with a lot of dirt?
a big truck on
Landscaping
95.
truck on 95. So apparently traffic was backed up like 2 hours this
Yeah.
morning.
That's wild.
That was all cleaned up by the time I came here.
You avoided that.
I did.
Yeah, that's a good thing. Yeah, I haven't driven in a while. Not in a while, but like in a month or so. But I do miss driving. It's so real. It's like a meditative thing. You know what I mean?
I grew up out west, and we would have to drive between 2 and 5 hours to get to particular stores or malls, and there'd be nothing in between. So for me, it is completely meditative.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you meditate at all?
I have tried. I need to practice it because it doesn't come naturally. I have one of those brains where I really need it because there's so many thoughts popping around.
You really need
ideas.
meditation, you said?
Yeah. I mean, I think anybody does, really.
Yeah.
We all need to kind of stop, focus, go inward, but it's not something I practice.
Yeah. Go inward. I mean, everything is kind of inward, right? I don't know, like, it's like there's this, what were you going to say?
Well, when you have kids,
Okay.
it's all outward.
Yes.
Because there's very little time to go inward because you're constant, or if you run, a company, or if you have many people that you're interacting with all day long, I feel like your energy is just completely outward. So I think moms or caretakers are often just sapped of energy.
It's like you're always giving.
Always giving. And so it's a luxury to be able to close your eyes and just tune out for even 2 minutes. But until you've had, a baby here and a toddler here and a 7-year-old there,
Yeah.
you just don't get sometimes how exhausting it is, just energetically.
Yeah. How old are they?
Everybody has their struggles. But
Yeah. Everybody does. Yeah. How old are your kids again?
22,
22.
19, 15, and 11.
Okay, 19, 50. So you have 2 more that need to cross
through.
that threshold.
Launch.
Yeah, launch.
And the one that should be launched is home right now for a year until he kind of figures out next steps, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Because he started college during COVID, and so it wasn't a normal trajectory.
Right.
I think most of these kids that, had junior, senior years in high school during COVID, or freshman, sophomore years during COVID in college, they're still recovering in some ways. I mean, it rocked everyone's boat, right? So I think for a lot of kids that normally, would be on this path of development, COVID just interrupted everything.
Do you think COVID could have served as a path of development, just in a different way?
I think it did.
It did. It definitely did.
Yeah.
The whole school online Zoom thing was kind of out of whack. Like when I saw my nephews doing that, I was like, that's like not a valuable way. Valuable way is not your ideal way that you want to teach. Even as a teacher, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, our teachers in my town had to pivot within a week, and they somehow managed to do that and to move online. We were one of the only districts in the state that was able to do that and to keep the kids in school.
Right.
But, it was exhausting for them. It was frustrating for everybody. Parents were then at home with maybe 2 or 3 or 4 kids on 2 or 3 or 4 different computers or iPads with 2 or 3 or 4 different programs that the parents had to kind of help them through. It was really tough. But again, that's just my experience. Everybody has their own COVID journey. It wasn't easy for anyone.
COVID journey.
Yeah.
Yeah. Individual experiences is a funny thing. In the I almost want to say in the spiritual realm. And like, it's a thing where we all have our own individual experiences, right? Kind of going about the world, different perspectives, everyone going through the world with their own set of personalities, looking through their own egoic lens. But it's like, what's that thing that is the same about everybody. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's all different personalities, differences. But there's also this like one thing that's kind of just like,
In essence.
yes.
Yeah. When you asked me to come on the show and talk about sort of spirituality and spiritual growth, I was thinking, okay, what is my story? And I can get into that if you want.
Please do.
Where do we start?
Anywhere you'd like. What comes to
49
mind,
years
dear
into
Alyson?
this journey.
Mm-hmm.
But let's get to the end really fast, which is that essence
Okay.
is something that I've really landed on. I think I'm at the halfway mark, hopefully, halfway mark of my life. And I think...
Hopefully.
I hope so. Well, 50, almost.
50. I mean, don't you want to like live to like 100? Okay. Like, yeah.
I'll be good.
Oh, halfway, so another 50.
Yeah.
That's a good mark.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping. Okay. Anyway, so... Back to the essence.
Yeah.
I think that one thing you learn as you go through your 40s and into your 50s and 60s is just the beauty and the joy of connecting with people in their essence and their humanity. You know, so you've sort of started to understand the complexity of life by your 30s and 40s. I think you settle into kind of your story by your 40s and 50s. And then you realize, okay, yes, we're all different, but let's focus on the stuff that we have in common. Because there's not that many years left, you know, and we've spent all this time trying to become a certain person. We've had our own paths, our own journeys. You've wanted to not associate with certain people or associate with certain people. And then ultimately, at least for me, I think a lot of people I've talked to, you just realize life's too short and you want to connect. It's all about connecting, at least for me. But I'm an extrovert, so there's plenty of people that want to not connect anymore.
Yeah. You definitely get to a point where you are really in the whole busyness of the world, you know. Well, we've been in the whole business of the world, but when you're in that so much, it's like, you know, let's simplify things now.
Yeah.
It's a good place to be.
It's a really good place to be. And I know from talking with a lot of women and mothers that the 40s, it's sort of a time when you can take a breath after, 15, 20 years of barely keeping your head above water. If you've been raising multiple kids or even one kid. And so there is sort of this stillness that comes. And you can either go with it or you can continue to take that crazy path and keep volunteering or keep working and raising your kids as deeply as you were. So I realized that, again, just my story. I have some choices in how I spend my time. There are plenty of people who don't. But I do think that there's a stillness as we sort of creep over this midlife point, fingers crossed. And maybe it's just a peace within ourselves. Again.
That's what I was thinking of too.
Yeah.
An inner peace.
I think it's an inner peace. I certainly have my days, believe me, where I don't feel peaceful at all.
Yeah.
But I think you're more in touch with being able to find it, whether it's like, okay, I'm just going to take 5 breaths in the car. You know your body more, you know how to relax. You know what your anxieties are, you know what your triggers are. I think you just really get to know yourself by your 40s, I think.
Yeah. No, really. And also it's allowing those to be there as well. Those triggers, those anxieties. Like, I could find even myself now, even like wanting to push them away in a sense. Like, oh no, like, even when you're someone who meditates, if you're meditating, you're like, all right, I'm on this path, and it's like, okay, I'm doing the work. Why do I still feel this way? And then you're like, no, I don't want to feel this. But really, it's about allowing all those to be there. Like, it's because at the end of the day, our true selves, it can't touch what we truly are in essence. Our truth. It's just, those anxieties come from the world and what we've been fed by the world and what we've bought into beliefs. And so, yeah.
Yeah, and I think, no matter what kind of therapy you have or what books you read, I think most of them, or what meditation you do, I think most of them would come back to that, which is you've got to lean into it. it's kind of like exposure therapy. I hate to fly, and
No, I can't fly.
you can't fly.
I get this crazy pain in my spleen when I fly.
Wow.
It's a medical condition.
For real.
It's yeah.
So it's not an anxiety related.
It's not anxiety. Oh no, yeah. Like I can't do anything more than 5 hours.
Much of my childhood was spent on the tiny planes where there'd be 6 people on one side, 6 on the other, and you'd be flying over mountain ranges in blizzards or in the summer heat, and the plane would do one of these or bank like this, and there'd be a mountain right here. And so my muscles just have turbulence like in them.
Yeah.
And I've flown for most of my life. I studied in East Africa. I have lived in Europe, so I have traveled a lot, but actually due to COVID, I didn't travel and fly for a couple years. So I've had to work back to a place of leaning into that and finding different techniques.
Leaning into what exactly?
Leading into the anxiety.
Oh,
because
yeah.
it's just going to be, like, it's going to be there.
What you resist persists. That's a true saying.
So
Lean into that.
I'm leaning into it. We just went to Scotland.
Scotland. How was Scotland?
Yeah, if it's not Scottish, it's crap, right? Sorry.
That was good.
Yeah, lovely. I am Scottish, so
Scotland.
I went to
you
where
are.
my ancestors are from.
Right.
We went to the Highlands, where Clan Cameron used to be from, and
Who's that? Is that an actor?
no, the clan. So there's different groups of Scottish and Irish.
It's not an actor.
Yeah, no, but I'm sure there was. And actually, you know who James Cameron?
Is it from the clan?
Yeah, of course.
James Cameron's from Clan Cameron?
Yeah.
Wow.
So maybe we're somehow related. or
Hey,
something.
maybe. You should
call him up.
call him up. Like, hey, I got this, I got this whole thing
Yeah,
going on.
but it was amazing, and again, like bringing my 4 kids there, introducing them to my culture, and connecting with the landscape,
Yeah.
which for me it really did talk to me. It really felt like this is kind of the landscape that I've always dreamed of, and felt a real spiritual connection to.
What do you define as God?
Okay, so we're going from Scotland to God.
Yeah.
Okay.
Scotland to God. God to Scotland.
Okay, so back to the beginning of the story.
Yeah.
Of my life. Thank you for having me. I feel very honored to be here because it's just a story, right? Like it's just a story, but I do like to talk. You know that.
Excellent.
So I was raised Catholic.
Mm-hmm.
My mom and dad. My dad's side is German. My mom's side is Scotch-Irish, and both Catholic traditions. They're both from Minnesota. Minnesota, and
What's that accent? Is it Minnesota? Remember the movie Fargo?
Yeah, that's totally it.
Yeah.
In the upper northwest part, which is where my dad's from. Yeah, if you're in the cities, you're not going to hear it as much.
I see.
But yeah, it's the long vowels. It's
Yeah.
oh my gosh, I can't believe you said that. We went out on the boat the other day, so. Yeah.
I thought the movie was hilarious. I just thought those accents. When I first watched the movie, I was like, that's hilarious. But anyhow, we digressed.
Yeah, we digressed. From God to Fargo.
From God to Fargo.
So growing up Catholic, anyone who has grown up Catholic, that comes with significant baggage, a lovely tradition or many traditions, a lot of education about, hundreds of years of history, and a little bit about the Bible. I think there's other traditions that actually teach the Bible much more fluently and deeply than Catholics. We're very rich in tradition and mass and confession. People always think about that. So it was a tradition that served me well for many parts of my life. I have a deep faith, but I've learned over time that deep faith doesn't go away if I'm not always going to weekly mass. And again, COVID impacted this for millions across the world.
Yeah.
Right. So I think numbers have kind of plummeted in many churches, not just the Catholic Church, but this is where, again, I feel like my faith has just gone more inward, and it has become more about finding the goodness in other people and being in the moment versus kind of throwing everything up to wherever we were told, God lived. And my my other love in this world is nature. And so I've always felt a deep connection with the earth. That's why I've spent 20 some years trying to protect it, trying to protect animals.
At the end of the day, we are nature, right?
Yeah, yeah. So I get a lot of my energy and sort of faith and peace from being in nature, whether it's watching birds or looking at plant. I mean, I'm looking at this plant and I'm not even aware that I'm doing it because it's not real, everyone, but I'm looking at it as if it were.
Why would you give that away?
Sorry.
Oh my gosh, you just gave
It's
away
so
the
pretty.
whole thing. I was really trying to like sell that one. Like
Okay.
we were
Well,
setting
it
up
looks,
earlier, I was
no,
like,
that's why I'm looking. It's incredibly realistic, and I'm literally
Is it
like
really?
looking at how the leaves are structured because I
Yeah.
was trained to do that. So
Yeah, artists, right? We have
looking
this
at
eye,
details.
looking
yeah.
at details.
Yeah, yeah.
Beautiful.
So that's where I feel my spirituality has kind of morphed from, you go weekly, you do this. If you don't do this, that's wrong. It's kind of shorthand for Catholicism. And now it's kind of like, hey, everyone has a tradition. Everyone's just trying to get by. People have different tools. They have different beliefs. They have different higher powers. And we're all, fallible humans, but we're all trying.
I find that the church projects an egoic God, a God that has human qualities. God is greatly personified in the church, at least the ones that I went to. As you have an image of what God is. We all know God isn't really like a man in the sky. But what I've come to realize now, my latest revelation, is that what God is a feeling. God is non-physical, right? I don't know if you've heard of the notion everything we look upon through the body's eyes, our five senses are just really an illusion. But what it's that feeling of inner peace you get either from making a decision or whatever brings about this feeling of peace, of kind of letting go of what was bothering you up here. That's what I've come to see as God, and it's so simple. It's as a great teacher of mine says, is deliciously simple. We try to kind of put these things on it and make it complicated. That's just our egos.
Yeah, no, and I think a lot of people will say they've come to just see God as love, right?
Yes.
And
yes.
I really like meeting those people that talk openly about love. Like I was in a job interview the other day, sitting on the side of interviewing somebody else, and she works with kids in a school environment, and she said, you know what, for me it's all about love. It's about loving these kids. And we know when a kid acts up, for instance, that they're not intentionally being bad. We know that they're hurting somewhere. And if you just come with love to so many situations, I think that you can resolve them much quicker.
Yes. How do we love ourselves? Because once we truly love ourselves, loving another is effortless. All those aspects about us that we want to push away, but allowing them and including them, integrating them, knowing that there's just these, how do I use this analogy? There's just one blob, right, which is ourselves. And we have these thousands and thousands and thousands of needles, if you will, kind of poking out, which are aspects of our personality, of ourselves. But then they're all still stemming from this one place. And it's like, how do we just include all of that back here? That's love, isn't it?
Right now it looks like the COVID image.
The COVID image?
With all the things poking off of it.
COVID.
No.
It's
Why
back.
is that in my head
It's
today?
back. I mean, apparently it's coming back.
Oh no.
It's not here though. We're
Well,
gonna fly that away.
two of my kids had it earlier this month, so yeah, it's definitely coming back.
Oh yeah.
It's like the common cold at this point, right?
At this point.
No, but I like that analogy, blob with things coming off. I see it.
Right. Different aspects. So yeah. Anything on your mind?
Well, I do feel bad. I called out the plant. You can edit
It's
that.
good. It's in the past. It's in the past.
editing helps.
Mm.
I
Yeah.
think, yeah, I mean, I guess the other thing I would just say is, I've worked a lot with kind of change agents in the last 20 years of my professional life, and most of it has been with nonprofits and volunteering because I've been raising kids at the same time. But I have really, I was raised in a family where we always worked to improve lives of others,
Yeah.
or just worked around different goals like service and protecting the earth and whatever it was that sort of fit in all of our hearts. And so I've worked a lot in a lot of different realms in Metro West Boston. I've lived here for almost 25 years. And I'm the kind of person that can't stop serving, so I'm always on committees. I like meetings, actually, and I like making change. And I think at some point in my life, I will get to a point where I can take those deep breaths and say, you know what? I'm okay to forego this volunteer opportunity, but I'm still going to do X, Y, and Z because I have to make change. It's continual progress, continual improvement.
What's your idea of a perfect world?
I always think about that. If somebody gave me the question, if you could do one thing in the world, what would it be? And my answer is just not enough. But I'll tell you what really bothers me, besides like all the things we know we would want to fix, poverty and hungry people and try to get peacetime out of this world. I hate garbage. I hate litter.
Don't move to New York.
My son's in New York, and I said, how do you deal with this? He says, I don't even see it. But again, I grew up in a really barren place. And so you noticed everything. You would drive for 2 hours, there might be 3 trees, honestly, and no bathrooms. That was always an issue. And because I am always thinking about the Earth's health, and I've been trained in ecology and wildlife conservation and things, I can't not see things that don't belong in an environment. And so for me, it's a trigger, because it also, to me, conveys irresponsibility by people, and that we're not loving our planet.
That's another good point right there, responsibility.
So it hurts, just like it hurts me when I see kids being hurt or kids suffering, or, I could go on and on. We are all triggered by so many injustices.
Yeah.
So I guess, to answer your question, a perfect world would be a just, peaceful, safe, and healthy world. That's
just peaceful, safe,
and healthy.
Yeah, I like that. It's like if you have a just world, you're gonna have a peaceful world. If you have a peaceful world, you're gonna have a just world. It's like it all connected. You're gonna be safe.
I'm gonna write that down.
It all stems, It's all
I haven't
connected.
come up with that before.
Just people and safe. Well, that's excellent. Excellent, my friend. Well, we are running out of our good old thing called time. You know what they say, time is an illusion anyway. So whenever you watch this, yeah, Alyson's doing a lot actually. She has films coming out. We didn't even touch on this. We just
It's okay. Part of getting to this midpoint in my life is that for me, I just kind of don't care anymore what people think. So I made a movie and wrote it, and it's funny, and it's done well, and it's almost ready to be kind of released somewhere. 11 minutes, not a big deal. It was fun.
Yeah.
It was a fun project.
That's lovely.
But it showed me again that creativity is also an energy source. The more you do it, the more you get energy.
Yeah.
So
We got to keep creating.
yeah, keep creating.
Amen to that. All right, beautiful people. We're out of here. Enjoy.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming. Is this still rolling?